everyone, and welcome to the All Things ITSM Global Podcast, coming to you from SITS in London. I'm Kirsty McGowan, and I'm here with Simone Jo Moore. Hi. James Finister.
Hello.
And we're speaking with Adam Haylock from
Hello.
the Aylesbury Vale District Council.
That's correct, yeah.
Service Delivery Manager, I understand.
That's correct, yeah.
Nice to meet you.
And you
Hi,
guys.
Adam.
Thank you for having
Aylesbury
me.
Vale District Council. I hope I don't have to say that too many times.
Just go with
during this
AVDC,
podcast.
that's fine.
We're here at a service desk, well, what's inherently a service desk show, but obviously we've got to put that in context. Can you tell me just a little bit about the IT ecosystem in Aylesbury Vale District Council?
Absolutely. Going back a couple of years, we were a typical council environment where we had a number of sites dotted around, inside and around the town. It was a long-term ambition to move all of our staff into a single site, just on the outskirts of town centre. So we started doing that, and one of the key drivers behind that for an IT department was we had to look at the technology and how we worked. So we set up basically a new strategy, a 5-year strategy to go infrastructure free. Basically the first part of that was to introduce a Citrix environment. So that brought with that added flexibility, the smart desking for our staff, more working from home, all about the flexibility for our staff, and it meant we didn't have to have such a big building. The second part of that, continuing with the infrastructure free, was to start looking at services like Amazon Web Services. So now most of all of our hardware is hosted there. So our ambition to be infrastructure free. It's only some legacy systems that we still have on site. Then Office 365, we use Office 365, and in fact on Monday we went live with our hosted telephony system. So you can see the journey we've been on. That's where we are as a kind of council and IT department. Specifically with the Service Desk ITSM tool, we were using SupportWorks, been using it since about 2008. Good product, happy with it, the team were happy with it, but for a number of years I was keen to upgrade it. Never quite felt the time was right, didn't really see where I was going with it. Of course, it had to be SaaS. I wanted that. I wanted all the benefits that come with that, the flexibility, the upgrade path we're on. So I was looking at it for a number of years, and then with Hornbill Service Manager, I looked at a few products, but it just seemed to fit. So we engaged in a project January to do an upgrade. We use the term upgrade, but actually, and Hornbill said this from the start, it was never an upgrade. This is completely different. New product. Which is, I always thought was quite good, and I would talk to that about the guys. This isn't. Don't think of this as an upgrade. This is a different direction. So we started that in January with a 30-day implementation go live, which was fantastic, and we did it. Credit to Hornbill, credit to the team at AVDC. We actually did the entire thing in a 30-day project.
Really?
So I wasn't given, one of the ways I got the go-ahead was, we're an incredibly busy department. All the things I've just talked to you about, a lot of projects going on. We're really moving forward to help and assist the council. So I didn't have much time, and one of the ways I got approval was, okay, look, I'm going to do this in 30 days, and we'll go live and we'll move on. And that was really important looking back on that, to maintain momentum, create a sense of urgency and a sense of speed. I always think of it like moving house. Everybody likes their house, they love their house. That's how the guys felt about SupportWorks. They liked it, it's a good product. But actually, typically or normally or hopefully, you move to a better house, and that was what we were doing. And certainly, we were moving, I believed, we were moving to the very start of a new platform and a new idea. So now we're there and we're on board. It really is just the start. So I see the guys on the Hornbill stand down there, I'm seeing what they're demonstrating, and it really is just the start of where we're at. And I'm seeing bits of that already.
So what's been the response from your team? Guys having to actually plug away with it? Really
positive. I am lucky, you've got a very good team, an established team. So they picked it up really well. What I wanted to do, the most important thing, because our bread and butter is a service desk ITSM tool. So I wanted to get the basics right, and for me that was logging and closing calls and making sure we're responsive, and the very basics had to be correct, and I like to simplify everything, make sure it's easy to use. Now it's about building on that, and we're really starting to push the collaborative side of it.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you. I mean, we've talked a bit about the theory of the whole collaborative IT with some of our guests earlier. you're actually using it. So how's it working for you?
Yeah, I can give a couple of examples, just basic examples. So you can follow, the concept is you can follow calls and you have news feeds where you can see information shared much easier. So I was sat at my desk one morning, I'm following some calls that are important to me at that moment in time. I'm sat down at my desk and I'm getting the pop-up of information. So I'm seeing an analyst has updated a call, they put a timeline entry in. So that pops up in front of me. Project not going ahead this week, need to fix this issue, going in Monday, something like that. So to see this information, then I get up, called into a meeting, and we're talking about a few things, and I said, well no, that's not happening now, the new go live date is such and such. So I wouldn't have had that information before, that wouldn't have happened, you know, I would have had to go and talk to somebody or send an email, and I had that. So that was quite exciting to see that happen. Another example is Monday actually. So I mentioned we went live with our new phone system. I was handed a sticky note from the project manager. We're noticing this issue, it's with Go Live. This is the contact number. This is how you deal with this particular issue. So we had it as a sticky. I put it into my news feed, which is a workspace, which is then instantly shared to the team. So the team then, if they, you know, they can have that information. So there's none of this passed around a post-it note or sending an email around. You know, it's there, it's in the tool, information shared, and you know.
So you're finding then that having the interaction with the team in terms of communication and knowledge sharing is so much better because it's that live feed as opposed to, oh, I sent that chat or I sent this text message. So you're getting far faster interaction now.
And I mean, what's interesting for us is we actually sit right on top of each other. We really do, but we still have the same communication challenges as everybody else, and that everybody's busy. You know, you can go a day without talking to a colleague that's close by. So I can imagine that if you're working even farther apart than we do, it's even more useful. But we're certainly seeing the benefit, and really we're just touching on it at the moment. We're just going to grow it.
So now we were talking off camera before about basically you taking everything off premise.
Yes, that's correct.
So that's a huge undertaking.
Yeah, it's been it's been very exciting. Been very good. Lots of new skills to learn. You know, certainly from the service desk and support point of view, things are very different. Very, very different for us. So we're still on that journey, and we're still forging on. But it's good.
I mean, you talked about the fact this has changed the way people work throughout the council. The collaborative approach using the tool, does that impact the business directly? Can the business actually make use of those collaborative features?
Yeah, absolutely they can. So that's another part that possibly we're looking at certainly within Hornbill, is reaching out to our customers, making sure we can communicate with them. So again, like the service desk, we all sit on a big open plan floor, so we're very close to each other. Any tool that can help us share information, consume information easily with our customers is of a benefit. And certainly it's something I've got a close eye on with Hornbill is where we can go with that.
Okay. And this is an interesting show because it appeals to a wide range of people. A lot of people here are coming here first time, or because they're thinking about making a decision of changing tool. You've made that decision very successfully. So what do you get out of a show coming here?
It's an interesting point because as you can see, we've just signed up. You know, we've got our ITSM tool. We're happy with it. So you could question why come here, but I always have the attitude of, and I'll always stress this. You know, you don't learn by just sitting in the office. You have to get out of the office. You have to go to, you know, whether it's training sessions or conferences. You have to meet people, talk to people. The sessions are great. You know, and even though we've got our tool, looking at other tools, you learn. You see things differently. You know, it's a time to just step back and reflect. And that's the other fascinating thing about being on the SaaS model, where with the almost rolling updates, is as a customer, we can influence that, and that's quite exciting. So we can have serious conversations like, okay, this is how the guys are working, this is how the team are working. What about this feature? Wouldn't that be great? And then, you know, if it fits in, and other customers like that. You know, 2 weeks time, it's there. You hit the update button, and it's in your product. So actually, looking at other stores and other vendors, why wouldn't you do that? It's still.
Yeah, those you know, vendors who used. I mean, I'm hoping it's all of the past vendors who did annual updates of the tool, so you got everything thrown at you, and I mean, it was so hard to keep track of what had changed.
Yeah, I absolutely love that now. So before we were in the classic situation where to get an update, Okay, you'd have to download the executable, you'd have to read the documentation, you'd have to do it right. Now, a lot of
Back
times,
up everything.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Then it would go wrong, so you'd have to regress it, and your
Yes.
team would be writing down the
Yeah.
calls. But that just doesn't exist
No.
anymore. It is a click of a button, and you're getting the new functionalities.
So from the point of view of how you're working, you said there's a lot of change. Does using a tool like this actually let you make changes and experiment and see, let's do something a bit different, and just see if it really makes a change?
Yeah, I think it does. I think it helps in a few areas. I think, as I say, I was quite lucky, and we're lucky at AVDC in the path we've been on. We are already quite adaptable to changes. Certainly our staff are, very, very used to fast-paced change and picking up new change. But it absolutely doesn't, and we're working differently all the time. And another example where we're using it with change in terms of our cab. So it has a concept of boards, and what we do is we're actually using this to run our change meetings now. So whereas before we print out, okay, we might have a screen, we print out the changes when we're sitting there, we possibly, now we are going into a meeting room with a large screen, and we have visual management of our changes. It's on board style, so we can sit there and easily see, right, what's new, what's pending approval. Okay, if we're going to just focus on what needs to be approved, we can expand on that and just look at those changes. We can comment, we can approve there, we can look at changes that haven't gone ahead.
So you're not having a meeting just for the sake of having a meeting?
No. That was one of the first things that, that was one of the first things that, I don't know, first week we had the tool, we were like, actually that made a real difference to a meeting.
It's easy to think about user interface as pretty pictures and cosmetics which vendors use to blind us with science. But actually, it really can make an absolute difference, can't it? How data is presented to people.
Big believer in visual management, definitely.
It's been fantastic talking to you, and I'm glad to hear your project's going so well. I mean, those are huge changes to take place.
Fun.
So,
happy
well done.
team, happy customers.
Yeah, hope so. Thanks for having me. Thank you,
Adam.
Thanks for tuning your time with us.